You know, I absolutely thought I was done with YouTube, but here we are. So let's sit down and talk about it. Hello, my name's Amy. I am an indie author, primarily of fantasy and occasionally of science fiction, with 15 published books so far. And for many years on and off, I have also been an authortuber. But when I say I thought I was done with this, I really did think that for quite a long time. I got to a point where I felt like I had said everything I could possibly say about writing. I was just in danger of repeating myself, and I think above all, I needed a break. Now, I didn't entirely give up making videos. I do have a second channel for more lifestyle content, and I did update that a bit while I was away. But what I've realised is that I just really miss talking about writing. Because whilst my family and my partner are very supportive of my writing, they are not writers themselves. So when I am talking about plot structure or copy editing, I tend to get fairly glazed looks in return. So here I am, once again, bringing back the writing videos. I am finding, now that I am sat back in front of the camera again, how much I missed it. So I think it is only fair to get you caught up. Now, in May of this year, I released my most recent book, which was Shadow Dragon, the first book in the Dread Queen's War. This is epic fantasy with dragons, with elemental magic, with, unsurprisingly, a war. There's also a kind of magic school setting. There is found family, lots of deep friendships growing in the background. It is the longest book I have ever published. I had a fantastic time writing it, and I am actually deep into the second book. Now, this has come around a lot more quickly than I would usually write a sequel. I do often jump from book one straight into book two when writing a series, but it is just the pace at which I have written both books which has taken me by surprise. I drafted a lot of Shadow Dragon last summer very quickly, and again, I have written about 80,000 words of the sequel in the last 2 to 3 months. And this has been alongside wrapping up various marketing activities for Shadow Dragon. I was drafting while I was formatting the paperback and the ebook, setting up things on my website. So I haven't been entirely just focused on drafting, but it has still gone incredibly quickly. Drafting this sequel has been a really interesting experience. I do know the characters and I already knew the world in quite a lot of depth, but the plot of this second book is quite different to the first, and we have an extra point of view character. At this point, a little past the halfway point of the draft, I'm honestly not sure how it is going. I am enjoying the writing process, but I don't necessarily feel that I have captured the character arcs the way I want to. I don't think the world is quite as detailed as I want it to be either, because we have moved settings from book one to book two. And I think as I deepen those things in revision, I think the plot will also expand and deepen with them. Now, I would love to talk about a release date for this book, but that is very much up in the air. I had planned to release the volumes in this series annually. I was going to go for a late spring release date every year, and I might still do that. But I can also see the value in releasing the series more quickly. It's not going to be a rapid release. These books are not going to come out a couple of weeks apart. They are just far too long and complex for that. But I might be able to shorten the release schedule down to more like 6 months apart, which would mean the second book in the series would come out later this year. Now, as I said, this is still very much up in the air. I may find that when I come to edit this second book, it just needs too much work. But I'm drafting pretty quickly right now, and that is on the assumption that it may come out this year if I can swing it. Now, alongside the Dragon book, as if I needed something else to work on, I have also been picking away at a dark fantasy novella. This is set in the same world as the Dread Queen's War, but in a very different time period. It is secondary world fantasy, but it does border on horror, which is why I'm calling it dark fantasy. Our main character, Yara, is a mercenary living in a land that has been affected by a sort of magical disaster. It is essentially haunted by ghosts, by its own history, by remnants of magic. And in the novella, she has been persuaded, let's say, by a new queen to delve into a barrow or tomb and put to rest the darkness that lives there. Now, if you've ever played Skyrim, when you are working your way through the tombs in the game and various undead creatures jump out at you, that is very much the vibe I am going for with this novella. Again, I would love to see it come out this year. It would be a perfect release for October, for spooky season. I'm not quite a quarter of the way into drafting it, but it has been a really nice palette cleanser. It is incredibly different in tone and mood from the Dragon series. The humour and the setting and the atmosphere are all much darker, and I really do like writing a dark, gloomy, atmospheric book. And in other fun news, we have also now got a roof and windows in our home build. This was a pretty momentous occasion. The structure is now watertight for the first time possibly in its history. It did start life as a barn. It has had some very shoddy repairs and roofing structures over the years, but it no longer rains in, and that is fantastic. So all in all, life recently has been incredibly busy, but there is so much good stuff going on, and it feels fantastic to be able to share that with you again. My plan really is to keep vlogging. I'm not going to commit to weekly videos or anything like that just now. I am simply writing too many words a day. My goal is 2,500 every day. Plus it's the summer holidays, so my daughter is at home and I have to work over the summer and we're working on the barn. But I do want to keep sharing my writing journey with you. I've had various forays into things like TikTok and Instagram over the last few months. None of them really have the writing community that I feel Authortube does, so it feels fantastic to be back. And please, if you have made it this far, tell me what you are writing right now. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Or if you are having a bit of a summer writing break, please tell me what you are reading instead. I am particularly on the lookout for great books by indie authors right now, and with a little holiday coming up in a couple of weeks, I am definitely going to be getting more reading in. And that is where I'm going to leave it for this video. I definitely have to get back to the writing, but I will see you next time.